Fear's not even real. What is fear, KB? It's not even real. It's a false emotion appearing real.
My mentor, good go.
How you doing, buddy?
How are you? Good to see you.
Luck is labor under correct knowledge. I have to be put in action at the right place at the right time, and then opportunity creates itself. And that's really what luck is. It's opportunity. You just got to be prepared for that opportunity.
Hi baby, hop in the Lamborghini. I'm needy, on me only, I'm needy. Hi baby, hop in the Lamborghini.
Left for a minute, I did not sweat it. Look at the cash I'm spending. There it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Another episode of Stroke of Success podcast. It's your host, KB. Today's guest is someone real special for me. This person sitting next to me helped my friend in his desperate time. In respect to my friend, I'm not going to mention his name, but this friend had some major trouble with substance abuse many years ago, and I had helped him find a place, and I came with him to meet the gentleman next to me, and he saved my friend's life. And my friend's wife, his family are always in awe of this gentleman next to me. He's my mentor. I worked with him a little bit. I watched him grow, and he's like a big brother to me. We talk quite often, and he's here without further ado. Marc Effron, welcome.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, man.
Honored.
It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been trying this for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Scheduling, both of our schedules have been insane. But thank you, Marc.
Thank you. You've had tremendous success, so
Thank you.
I'm super honored to be here.
You know, every time you send me a DM or a text, it just makes me so happy, because it's like, your wife will say some stuff, your family, people close to you, but someone you look up to, so drop a line and say, hey, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Awesome work.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you for receiving it.
Yeah.
I got to say, and it's like, I can't, we can.
Say it again.
I can't,
Okay.
we can.
Wow.
Right? So, like, if I think I'm going to do life alone or I'm successful on my own, that's a big lie. I'm not going to believe the lie. So I know that I need like-minded people, successful-minded people, people that are willing to get gritty and do the work and
Sure.
look at themselves,
Sure.
right? Not just professionally, but in their home, right? Spiritually. So you're one of those guys in my we that, you say it's special for you. It's special for me to sit here today with
That
you.
means a lot.
Absolutely.
So let's go back 1 second. So it was a Saturday, I remember.
Yeah.
I came in with my buddy, and he was in real bad shape. His wife begged me to take him. And we found your information. You're new at that time. This is
Yeah.
5-6 years ago. And you left your son's soccer game. You finished it up, and you came straight from there. You had shorts on.
Yeah.
You introduced yourself to me and him, and you talked to him for like an hour. And I'm like, wow, this guy owns the place. It's a Saturday. It's family time, right? Beautiful family you have.
Thank
But
you.
he left them to come and talk to my friend. And that was the first time that you impacted my life and his life. And then he was in the treatment center at your treatment center for months, and I used to come see him on the weekend or once in a while, and I talked to him quite often. And he was telling me how special his journey has been with you, how everything was so detailed. The house you have, I think you have a house for your clients that they go off to.
Correct.
There's special meals being provided, there's special drinks being provided. It's like you have designed it to a T. So anyways, from that was my introduction to you. Then I did some work for you on the side, and then we stayed in touch.
Yeah.
Marc Effron, I want to start with your beginning. Where are you from?
So originally I'm from Boston, Mass.
Okay.
I grew up just outside the city. I spent, my childhood life, my adolescent years in a town called Swampscott.
Okay, never heard of it.
Yeah.
Small?
Small town,
Okay.
15 minutes north of Boston, right on the water. And I grew up, I'm going to be 47 in
wow.
December.
Looking good, man.
I appreciate it, man. 1978, there was a blizzard that blew through Boston, and that was the first time I ever ingested any type of drug. I actually tore into a bag of cocaine from my parents. They had this big blizzard that blew through. They had a big party, and I was, 2.5 years old, and my mother found me in the closet. And
2.5.
2.5. And, at 2.5, I didn't recall it, right? I still don't recall it.
Sure.
But I fact-checked it with my family and everybody. But what happened was I got rushed to the hospital, and they medically discharged me. And back then, DCF wasn't showing up. They weren't pulling you out of the house. That was the first time that I ever ingested any type of substance. And so I bring that up because we're going to talk about that, and we talk about your friend here in a second. But growing up outside Boston with that little bit of moment, I don't know if that's why I turned out to be the way that I am today. But that was the first time that I ever ingested anything. So the reason I bring that up is because I moved around quite a bit. I was very transient at a young age.
Why? Dad's business or job?
I wish that was the case. It was divorce. My parents got divorced when I was young.
5, 6? How
Yeah, I
old?
was, they got separated around 4 or 5
Okay.
and finally divorced when I was about 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that wasn't easy, right? Like, we see it all the time. People quit on marriage. It's not right. I'm not here to judge or pass
No.
judgment.
No.
My parents did the best that they could for as long as they could. And they were probably better separated. But I inherited step-parents at that time. So, the parents split, and I wound up moving around quite a bit. Go ahead.
Lived with your mom, and then she.
So I lived with my mom. My brother went with my dad.
Okay.
And it was just very different households. It was very undisciplined in my home. My mother was never really around. She was working to take care of us. I grew up middle class, lower middle class.
Okay.
Early years, it was food stamps and government cheese and
Sure.
support. And then, in the 80s, it was lower middle class. It wasn't until later in life that I really understand what money was or business was. It wasn't really put in front of me. I was a young kid. I played sports, lived with my mom, made a lot of decisions on my own as a young boy. And there was a lot of turbulent stuff there with step-parents and, mental, emotional, physical abuse.
My next question was that.
Yeah.
So you had those three. Those are 3 major forms of abuse.
Yeah.
And you went through those.
Absolutely. And the hard part about that and being in the position that I'm in today, right, as a loving father, having a supporting wife, right, playing the role as a husband, being an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur where I have multiple businesses, one of them is in behavioral health, I learned about trauma and how that affects adolescents. And, a lot of people think that trauma lives in the brain.
No.
And you feel it in
Yeah.
the brain. It's like a thought process, but it actually lives in the body. And, it's all prefrontal cortex. So a lot of work needs to get done for people like myself in recovery when you're first getting sober. So there was a lot of abuse that took place as an adolescent that I needed to unwind those tapes later
Heal.
on in life and begin the healing process. Absolutely.
So have you heard that they say that from 0 to 7, the age of 0 to 7 is so vulnerable for a child?
Yeah.
That like limiting beliefs, like if your parents are fighting about money, money doesn't go on the trees, why is money? The kid, boy or girl, will take that and they'll have that program, their subconscious mind, and then they will manifest that in their reality as they get older.
100%.
Right? Do you agree to that?
100%.
Right.
I agree.
But I think it's the same thing you said. Like I come from Brooklyn, New York, very similar background. My parents got divorced when I was 5 years old, and a lot of trauma. But a lot of my close friends, they were sexually abused, physically abused, mentally abused, and they had some major. I lost 2 of them to drugs, Brooklyn, and major trauma. And in their teenage years, they go and manifest this drug-fueled lifestyle.
Well, that's the point, right? So 0 to 7 or 0 to 8, that time frame, they hear it,
Yes.
they see it.
Sure.
So sometimes it's not even what they're hearing, it's what they're seeing.
Yes.
That's quiet.
You're right.
Parents don't even realize that. And then kids have traumas that are put on them that they don't even realize they're receiving, to your point.
Sure.
So what happens? Same thing that happened to me. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I take that into my teenage years.
Okay.
And I start acting on what I just learned. And then what happens is I become a young adult. And I never treated any of the symptoms of what was put on me. I didn't ask for trauma. You or your friends didn't ask for it. We got it.
We got it.
and nobody told us we need to unwind it and fix it.
Sure.
And I think that's a big part of healing and recovery, whether it's about sobriety or not, just healing in general.
Yeah, take the drug abuse out of it. For a
Yeah, take
second.
it out of it completely. Yeah, just human beings.
People's marriages fall apart because they're not healed. Communication, a lack of communication. People have, many issues. You are an athlete. You
Yeah.
were really good at baseball.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, talk about
That's
that.
a good memory.
How'd that go? When did that come into your life?
Yeah, I came in early, man. I was an incredible shortstop. I was a phenomenal point guard. I was I controlled the ball on the basketball court. I always played up a few years. I'm not real tall. I'm vertically challenged, I call it. But I was quick, and I was quick with the ball, and I had a lot of speed. And but baseball was my passion, and so growing up, I always wanted to be the shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. That was my plan.
amazing.
That was my trajectory.
Okay.
If it wasn't for that, I don't know, man. Like, I got into drugs and alcohol at an early age. I had my first drink when my parents got divorced at 8. So I'll never forget walking into the living room, opening up that cabinet, seeing that little purple bag, that velvety purple bag with Crown Royal in it. And there was a bunch of other bottles. And I grabbed that thing, and I just took my first sip. And all those traumas that we were just talking about, instantly gone. That warmth came over my body, and I felt complete. So for me, looking back, like, if it wasn't for baseball, if it wasn't for a coach, if it wasn't for a team, the team part of it, the camaraderie that comes with being on a team, knowing that it's I can't, we can type mentality that I still carry today. I don't know. I probably could have found myself in a really bad situation and maybe have died. I partied, I drank, I drugged, but I always had something to look forward to. What ended up happening was I moved down to South Florida to play baseball. Quite honestly, there was just a lot of talent down here. They groom them down here. And
South America, they're bringing them to, right? It's a lot.
yeah, there's that, and just South Florida as a whole. The high school that I attended down here was phenomenal at baseball.
How old were you when you came to South Florida exactly?
I was 16.
16. You're driving.
Yeah,
Puberties, girls.
the whole thing,
Whole
man.
thing.
Yeah, no, I was all about the girls. I was driving, but my father was kind enough not to get me a car. He got me a scooter.
Okay.
Yeah, a little spree scooter. And I'll say it with a smile because I was the new kid on the baseball team driving a scooter in the rain with a poncho. There was a lot of humility that had to
Wow.
come from that. Yeah, that was a tough
16.
time.
Where you come
16.
from?
Coming from Boston.
Where you come? Coral Springs. Where'd you live?
I lived in Parkland, Florida. Yeah, actually where I live now.
It's what you were there.
It's where I'm raising my kids.
Nothing was there at that time.
Nothing was there.
It's jungle.
It was a jungle.
Beautiful place now. From like viewers that never been to Parkland, one of the beautiful cities in here, South Florida. I sold many homes there. Amazing.
Amazing. And I swore I would never go back there. Because what ended up happening was this. Drugs and alcohol did take over at that point. I'm 16, turning 17. I quit the baseball team. I was living with my father and my stepmother, and that was a challenging time. My dad was never around. My stepmother at the time she wasn't great to me. I've forgiven her after all these years. She would set the alarm on the home and lock me in the house. It was just a lot of weird stuff.
Wow.
I wound up dropping out of high school.
Okay.
I ran away, and I started working in restaurants. I started moving and
Server?
hustling. I was serving, I was serving in an Italian restaurant and doing my thing. That was short-lived. I got into a lot of trouble quickly.
Okay.
I rewind the tape, and I don't blame anybody, KB, for it. I just look back at the time. And you brought it up, that 0 to 7. Then it goes to the teenage years. Then it goes to the adult years.
20 years, right? The 20s.
Yeah, so I was very undisciplined going into my early 20s, that 17 to 20 mark. I didn't really have family core values. I didn't have a lot of things that some kids do.
A foundation, like your sons do, right?
Like Maven and Max do.
Look, Maven and Max, I see you, Mark. You're seriously another topic I want to just touch on.
Yeah.
I have 2 daughters. Mine are 6 and 5, and like I see you being the father that you are inspires me to do a better job with my daughters.
Appreciate
Like
that.
I mean, in social, as one positive thing about social media, people say social media is horrible. If you use that in a negative way, yes, but if you use it in a positive way, for me, like that's the way we've been in touch, right? Like if we didn't have social media, and then I never see you working out as much as you do, or you do boxing too, or you with Maven and Max, with Marcial the vacations, like I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have been as inspired. So shout out to social media, but your kids, your sons have an amazing foundation. Now I know why, because you came from here and you
Yeah.
want to do the opposite for
I
them.
want to do the opposite. And, I had a loving dad, and he showed up on the weekends, and he showed up at the sporting events.
Weekend sporting events, right?
But he did the best that he could, right?
With the resources he had.
With the resources that he
Yeah.
had. So I look at it, especially because I'm a man of long-term sobriety. I've been sober since April 3rd, 2008. I want to be even better than my dad was to me. It's not that he was bad. He just did the best that he could. I want Maven and Max to feel like there's a space where they can count on their dad.
Anything.
Anything.
Open for them.
Open for them. Whatever they need.
They're lucky, man. Very blessed.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's amazing stuff.
But,
Mark, serving in restaurants, okay.
Yeah.
Did you know you're going to be an entrepreneur one day? Did you have it in you at that time?
At that point, no.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
I was looking at my family. At this point, every man in my family was in the financial industry.
Okay.
Running some big companies here in
Selling
America.
life insurance and stuff, financial products?
Financial products.
Okay.
My
Annuities?
dad. Yeah, annuities,
Okay.
mutual funds.
Gotcha.
My uncle was on the New York Stock Exchange at the time.
Great money.
There was a lot of money in my family at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, there was just a lot of power running big, bulge bracket, old institutions for
Okay.
this country.
Wow.
So the high school dropout, without the education, looking at my family dynamic, I always wanted it, but I felt like maybe I was inferior, that there was something missing inside me
Okay.
that I wouldn't be able to achieve. Even though I had the sports background and that competitive part, see, I hate to lose. I hate losing more than I like winning. Because, at this stage of life, I expect myself to put the effort in to win. Whatever that win looks like. It's not always monetary. It could be an emotional thing. It could just be a win. I love to win. So when I look back at that, I don't know that I had it in me. But I wound up getting a job in a mailroom at a financial institution in Boston.
Okay.
And I was the best mail guy that this company ever had.
From the bottom.
From the bottom. I was making $19,500. This guy, Ted Charles, brought me in. I was working for Investors Capital Corporation. And I would open up that mail every single day, and I would sort it, and I was in a suit that was 2 sizes too big for me. It was my brother's.
Wow.
Yeah, KB, it was crazy. And one day, 6 months into the job, I'm opening up the mail, and I look at a statement, and I said, you know what, let me call. I don't know, it was something in me. Let me call this woman. And, hey, good afternoon, Mrs. Cohen. This is Marc Effron with Investors Capital. I'm looking at your Putnam Voyager statement. There's $250,000 in here, and I just want to let you know I'm going to be mailing it out to you. And at that same time, the CEO was walking by. Wow. He said, what are you doing? I thought I was fired. He said, come with me. He walked me into a sales room, put me on a sales desk, and next thing I know, within 18 months, I was running a sales team. I had 20 people underneath me, and this guy mentored me, and he took me under his wing. He got me licensed. He got me credentialed. He got me a second license and a third license, and next thing you know, I outgrew this company. By the time I was 24, I became the vice president of an insurance company here in the United States. Luck is labor under correct knowledge.
Say it once again.
Luck is labor under correct knowledge. Wow. I have to be putting in action at the right place at the right time. And then opportunity creates itself. And that's really what luck is. It's opportunity. You just got to be prepared for that opportunity.
I don't think anyone sits on the couch and just gets someone knocking on the door and say, hey, by the way, you're going to become a VP to my company. That doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that.
I hate when people say that, he got lucky. That person got lucky, and it bothers me, but you said it very well. So you went from Florida back to Boston, insurance company.
Yeah.
VP, 24, 25?
I was 24 years old.
6 figures, I'm sure. Above.
7.
This is wild. 7 figures is they're a big thing now, but a huge thing back then. 7 figures.
I made a big, big, big number at 24. That's where my addiction took off.
Jump into it.
Yeah. 24 years old, making insane money. I'm running a division for this investment company in the Southeast. So Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and I did a lot of traveling, and I went out and I raised money and raised capital for this financial institution. And I was pretty good at it. I put on a nice suit, got to know people, I was able to solve problems for people. I enjoyed that part. I was actually able to tell people that had a higher education how to solve a problem. There was a esteemable acts, there was self-worth, but what I didn't see coming was the drug addiction. You put, and I'll go back to your original statement of 0 through 7, you put millions of dollars in a young guy's hand who's undisciplined financially, but more importantly emotionally, that money is gone in a heartbeat. So I found myself in strip clubs, nightclubs, spending money on things that really didn't matter, your lifestyle. And that big boy job that I got was gone within 24 months.
You told me the story. Pause that. Stop to come back to. You told me the story once. You had a bodyguard.
Oh yeah.
A 6'1", 6'3", big bodyguard.
He would follow me around.
At 24, 25.
Yeah, 25.
Narcissism?
I'll never forget it.
Was it narcissism, or did you really need one, or like what was that for?
Nah, that was just stupid.
That's stupid.
That was just stupid. That was because I had the money to do
money.
it, and I wanted to impress people that I'll never know.
Yes. Okay.
And
girls.
Yeah,
women.
it was definitely the girl thing.
Nice cars then, back then.
Decent cars, yeah. Yeah.
Nice
I had
house.
some nice car, nice house,
Yeah.
nice cars,
Bachelor.
great clothes.
Woman
you know?
coming in and out probably. Good-looking guy like yourself.
Yeah, I
A lot of
appreciate.
money.
I appreciate
A lot
that.
of money.
I was, I was non-committal. I didn't know at this stage of life what a successful relationship looked like.
And who does at 24? Right? Not, some people do. I did it.
I definitely didn't.
You know.
Yeah, I definitely didn't.
Okay, so 7 figures, living the life, lost a job in 24 months, 2 years. What happened?
Greatest thing ever. Drug addicts are crafty. So what I was able to do was, I was able to make a phone call. I called this guy, Jeff Reese. At the time, he was a divisional manager at a bigger company. I said, hey, Jeff, I'm moving to South Florida. I don't believe in the core value system of the company that I'm at anymore. My family's in South Florida. If you ever have a job, I'd love to come work for you. He said, as a matter of fact, I actually have an opening. So I met with this guy. He liked me. He sent me away to the company for a major interview. I spent 3 weeks training with this company, and they gave me a territory, and I rebounded so quick. There was no real consequence at that time. So I came down here. I was the vice president of this company, and we did some big things. And I wasn't crazy like I was back in Atlanta.
Okay.
You know, when I was domiciled in Atlanta, I wasn't out of control. I was socially drinking. I really wasn't using drugs. And what ended up happening down in South Florida at that time were these hurricanes, and they crisscrossed. And I'll never forget it. Power was out, financial institutions were shut down, and I was out in front of my driveway because these hurricanes literally tore everything apart. And I'm barbecuing in my front yard, and I smelled, it was like a cartoon. And this waft of weed,
Yeah,
I
like
just smelled
Tom
it.
and Jerry used to see that.
It was like a Tom and Jerry, yeah, it's exactly
Sure,
what
okay.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the analogy that's in my head.
Okay.
KB, I walked down where I smelled it coming from. I said to the guy, hey man, what else can you get me? He's like, what do you need? And I told him. It was cocaine at the time. For me, that was my drug of choice. Next thing I know, I had cocaine, 8 balls all day, every day for multiple days, and I was off to the races. It was like this little addiction that I had some experience with, had muscles, and it was growing. And so I picked up where I had left off. So when I left Atlanta, I lost that job. I was getting high every day. I came down to South Florida, and I kind of did a geographical change, right? Same person, but the geographical part changed. I got high for days and weeks on end, and I wound up having to go to treatment my first time in 2006.
How old were you?
I was about 28.
Okay, 28. No, your wife wasn't in your life at that time?
No, she came shortly after.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Continue.
Man, so, you know, I went to treatment and I put in 6 months worth of work, and it just wasn't for me. I didn't understand the work that I had to do on myself. I just thought, you know, I was partying too much. I made too much money. I didn't have responsibility. I'm going to grow up. I'm going to grow up now. That's what I kept on saying. I'm going to grow up. I'm going to be like my brother Mike. You know, I'm going to be married one day. I'll have kids one day. But meanwhile, I'm shacked up in a motel, peeping out windows because I'd been high for days, with cocaine rolled up in a baggie. And I would wrap it in a towel in case I sweat through it. because I would take Xanax to pass out. I had this whole cycle, man. And my scorecard read 0. You know, I felt shameful, broken. Nobody really in my family was talking to me at the time. And then there was Maciel. I'm scrolling on the internet and I came across her picture and I was like, wow, this woman she's just my type. Right? Never talked to her, but physically she was just my type. And we wound up meeting and we had our first date. It was a 5-hour first date and it was amazing. And we've been together ever since, you know, but she, towards the end of my addiction, she said to me, if you want to go ahead and kill yourself, go ahead, but I'm not going to stick around. Wow. So when my scorecard finally read 0, the house was gone, the cars were gone, the job was gone, the money was gone, the girl was gone. It was either death, jail, or get sober. And by the grace of God, I found my way to a program that was able to help me with men and women, but men that really took me under their, you know, you talk about mentorship when we first sat down. They really mentored me, man. Yeah.
You believe in law of attraction?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said something about Marcia was your girl you had in mind. My wife, same for me. I had a vision, I had a thing framed, looks here. Was that like your thing? Like you had, like was she to your T? Like that's the type of girl you're gonna?
I love that you asked this question because I was cleaning out my office a couple months ago.
Okay.
Check this out.
This is amazing. I know to go. Okay.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked.
Yeah.
When I was actually in treatment the last time, they had us do a vision board.
Okay.
And I may have shared this with you.
Maybe
a long
you have.
Time.
Yeah.
There was a picture of a wedding cake.
Okay.
There was all these little sayings and words. There was a white chip, which means surrender.
Sure.
There was a picture of a car, a picture of a home, a picture of a ring. There was all these different things on there that represented what I wanted my life to be. Brother, if I told you every single thing 15 and a half years later has come to fruition, everything on that vision board came true.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I do believe in that,
That's
but it goes back to
putting the work.
Putting in the work. Labor under correct knowledge.
100%.
Where's the information coming from? I am responsible as a man in 2023 going into 2024 for what I look at, what I listen to. I believe that if you think it, you will speak it. If you speak it, you will create it.
Say it one more time.
If you think it, you speak it, you will create it. And a lot of people have these thoughts that aren't healthy.
Yeah.
Then they speak unhealthy thoughts
100%.
and then they wonder why they don't get anywhere, right? And I needed to learn that. I need to be trained. I needed coaching. But I firmly believe that in my heart. If I think it and then I speak it, I can create it. And that's what happened with that vision board.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Manny Cushman, he's a big-time investor, social media personality in California. He talks about how he drew his wife many years before that. And he drew his house, his mansion, his huge mansion in California. And, you know, and a lot of entrepreneurs talk about it, right? Like vision board and stuff. All right, so you're sober.
Sober.
You told me one story, and I remember, like, it's a visual in my head. A garbage bag with your clothes inside of it.
Yeah.
Touch on that for a
At
second.
the end of my addiction, my brother Mike dropped me off at treatment. And inside, I didn't have luggage anymore. Everything was gone.
Gone. Everything.
So he dropped me off with a trash bag. I had a bunch of clothes in there, a bag of beef jerky, a tin of tobacco, and a really nice pair of Gucci
loafers.
loafers. I still have them. They're like over 20 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I don't wear them. I
You
just
have
look
them.
at them
Yeah,
and it
remember.
reminds me.
Sure.
You know, that was the one thing that I had left, and
Sure.
it was immaterial.
Sure.
You know, sobriety's been so good to me, brother. So good to me.
It has. I can see that.
Yeah.
You've been good to it too, right? I mean, you put the work in.
I have, and it hasn't always been a straight line.
No, we talked about that.
We talked about that because there's nothing in life that really is.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't necessarily understand what it takes to put in the work. You know, you got to put in work.
Sobriety is like anything else, right? I mean, you're a successful entrepreneur. You have a marriage. You have a father. Like nothing just comes to you. You have to put in the work, right? Mark, question.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm blanking out now. Oh, sober, you lost everything. Marcial's right there. Because you're starting from zero again.
Starting from zero.
I was wondered about that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask you. Like I thought maybe you had some money stashed away to like a parachute or something. Or but you were
I mean, it was a couple, maybe a few $1,000.
okay. That's I thought more than that. So it's really zero.
Yeah. Yeah. April 3rd, 2008, I got sober.
Same sober date as I think some M&M. I think had the same one.
Okay. Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think so.
All right, I'm going to have to look
Yeah.
that up after
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I got more time, though.
Okay.
Don't tell him, though.
Okay.
No, that's actually amazing
Yeah.
because, anytime you see somebody of celebrity
Sure.
status doing it and talking about it, because the world needs that.
Sure.
The youth coming up.
Absolutely.
It needs to be attraction, not promotion.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Good
That's
point.
attractive. Eminem's pretty attractive that way. April 3rd, 2008 is my sobriety date. And I found myself back in the financial industry quickly. Got a job. It wasn't paying a ton. I wound up losing that job my second year of sobriety. And what ended up happening was whatever money I had made that first year carried me into my second year. And by the third year of my recovery, I wound up getting a great job. I wound up also getting married. But I found a great job. It was working for a smaller insurance company with really good people, with incredible product and a great compensation package. And I grinded, man. I put in the work. I was working, man, 15, 16, 17 hours a day, trying to outwork my competition. I had a mindset, the more people that I help, the more money that I'll make. That was the mindset back then. And it still is today. It's not about the money part, because I'm involved in a lot of different companies. It's more for me about how can I serve, how can I have impact. The more impact I have, the better the communities, the better the families, the better I'll be.
And national leader. You're a leader.
I think that's
That
fair.
was,
Yeah.
that was probably your thing.
Part of my thing. I love to have vision. I love to lead. I love to lead by the front. So I was able to rebuild. And at this point, I've matured. I have a lot of great people around me. I've got a lot of information from being in the financial industry. And I saved, and I saved, and I saved, and I invested. And I watched my money compound until I got to a place of really being able to invest it and create something. I never in a million years thought that I would leave the financial industry. I wanted nothing more, quite honestly, than to rise to the level of that of somebody in my family. Not that my family was a prominent family, but there was a lot of respect in the financial industry at that time. And I just wanted to make my family proud because I brought shame upon myself, being a vice president of a major insurance company and then losing a couple of jobs because you're a drug addict can bring up shame. So it was like part of the redemption, man. It was part of my rebirth in finance. So I put a bunch of years together, man, and they were good. Marcial got married to me. We had Maven, who's now going to be
13?
He's coming up on 12.
12, okay.
That was my sobriety baby. And then Max, who's coming up, he just turned 9 in August. Man, these kids changed my life. Like, the love that I have for my wife is one type of love. The love that I have for my children is just different. It's just different.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in a meeting one time, and I'm listening to people talk about treatment in Florida. And at that point, it was about 2014, made what I made. And I went home to my wife, and I said, Marcial, if Maven or Max turn out to be like
You told me the story. Yeah.
where would we send them?
Where would they go?
Yeah, she said, what are you saying? I said, I don't know, but I have this pull. I have this calling that I'm feeling.
In the gut, telling you.
In the gut.
Higher power is talking to you.
I
Whatever
don't-
it may be.
I don't even know what it is
Yeah.
yet. I mean, no. In hindsight, looking back, it was definitely God working in my life.
Sure.
Then it just seemed like a crazy thought. Wife, kids, sick mom, 2 cars in the driveway. We just built a home. It's 2014. Like, life is good. I'm sponsoring men in the program that I'm in, mentoring people. Like, I'm home early.
The balance, a good balance.
Yeah, and sometimes I think balance is yes, but I think it's an illusion sometimes too.
I do too.
Yeah. I think
I do.
the more successful you become, your life is going to be a little out of balance. You just got to
And
accept
you have
it.
to say that.
Yeah.
Accept it, yeah.
Yeah. And I actually like imbalance sometimes with that.
Yeah.
Because I like to go and then pause,
Yeah.
go and pause.
Yeah.
I went to my best friend and business partner, now Ben, And I said, hey, Ben, listen.
Ben Fox?
Ben Fox. I think I'm going to retire from finance. I'm going to take whatever I got, probably going to borrow some, and this is the plan. I want to create a place good enough for my kids to go there. And he said, how serious are you? I said, extremely serious. He was working in a completely different industry. Neither one of us knew anything about behavioral health, but we had sobriety.
Both of you did?
And we both had business acumen. And we knew that if we created a place that could navigate as one team, one vision, one mission, and we could have a culture that followed our value system.
Wow, dude, you're dropping some gems. Please continue.
That we could have a place that could hit home runs for families. And that's exactly what we were able to do. So we spent from 2014 to 2016 planning, strategizing, coming up with names.
You have a day job still, both of you, right?
I was still working in finance, and
He has his own thing going on.
He was a successful entrepreneur himself.
And
He
you
had
guys are
different
meeting,
companies.
meeting after that, after work?
5 a.m. meetings, 10 p.m. meetings, in between phone calls. It was
Insane.
nonstop.
Insane.
It was insanity, man. And so from 2016, we got an office after 2 years of planning. We hired 8 team members. We don't have employees here. We call them team members.
I love that.
One team, one vision, one mission. And we got our license February of 2017. And the rest is kind of unfolded, man. It's just
February. I walked with my buddy who was your client in May.
Yeah. Shortly after, we were brand new.
Brand new.
But what we had was experienced clinical teams.
Yes, you did.
We always hired some of the best, maybe overpaid in different situations to get them because we were the new kids on the block.
You didn't know much better.
No, it was 700 treatment centers in the state of Florida at that time. Wow. So we went from a 12-bed program. We have over 450 beds. We span from Los Angeles, California.
Brand new. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a blessing to be out there. Cincinnati, and 2 locations in New Jersey.
I saw that Freehold, Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill and Parsippany.
Wow. It's a total of 5.
Correct.
You guys. In 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that a vision? When you opened the first one, back where the Margate, I remember that office was, did you and Ben ever sit there and think about, you know what, we'd have 5, 6, 7, did you, or that came along?
I think the idea was like, well, let's have a 40-bed facility here in the state of Florida.
Okay.
We just didn't know.
Wow.
What ended up happening was the demand for the quality of service that we had was so great that we stretched our own thinking, accepted the fact that people were calling for us. We were always full. Our outcomes, man, our recidivism was low. We just had tremendous success early. So the impact and the opioid epidemic and the tidal wave that's just washed this country, leaving families broken, we had a quality program to serve different communities. So we just grew. We grew with demand, and we've never watered it down. You know, I think that any place that you go, each location looks the same, feels the same, the culture's the same. We won't grow beyond our comfort level. It's very strategic, and so far it's working for us.
God bless you guys.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
mean,
brother.
Competition. Let me go back 1 second. So I have this mentor who was helping me with mindset. I pay him a lot of money. So he did an exercise with me before I came to South Florida. He goes, think of the best version, KB, of yourself. Call yourself KBA, and KBB is right there. And KB walks in, best version, and sits next to you. How do you look? How much money does he make? And I told him the number, right? Multiple 7 figures, this and that, and this and that. He goes, what type of emotions would he have? I'm like, wow, I'm stuck. He goes, that's the point. You think about it. It's not a fast answer. You should think about it. I go, okay, so think about it. First one, I said, cool, calm, collective. I thought of you too. So you were part of the inspiration. I said, cool, calm, collective. He goes, okay, perfect, good one. Second one, abundant thinking, abundance. And the third one, man, I'm blanking out. Abundance, cool, calm, collective. Oh, and just focused. Those 3 are the qualities that I think I see in you. Not I think I see in you. I see in Ben, your partner. I spent time with him.
Yeah.
You know, any of the qualities, emotions that you would say as a mentor to many people, say, hey, to be successful at life itself. Oh, cool, calm, collective, unfazed. Things will happen, he said. The more money you get, the more success you get, and you're a prime example. I'm sure people come at you. I'm sure people have a gun point on the back of your, speaking in so many words.
Yeah.
Want to take you down.
Yeah.
Right. You're new kid on the block, and now you're top G in the industry. Do you consider yourself unfazed?
I consider myself unbotherable.
Okay.
I don't want to be bothered. I like control of the mind, so I do a lot of work on that. Proper alignment will create the assignment. My coach has taught me that.
Proper alignment
Creates the assignment.
Okay.
Right? So I know for me that if I go vertical before I go
You
horizontal,
told me that first time we met.
got to go vertical before I go horizontal. Before I deal with anybody and people and personalities, situations, I need to get my head and my heart connected,
Aligned.
aligned. And if I'm navigating with that, I'm unbotherable. Why? Because the proper alignment creates the assignment. No different than a car. How many people are driving a car around for year after year after year and they've hit things, hit a curb, right?
Yeah.
A pothole, they don't realign, they're going to veer off to the side. So I always want, what you just talking about was that focus and that vision. I do a lot of work, man, right? So I woke up this morning, it was 4:45. First thing I do is thank you, God, for another day. Thank you, God, for another day sober. Kiss my wife. She doesn't like me waking her up early. Kiss my wife. Hit my knees. After I hit my knees, got dressed. Clothes were laid out the night before. Prayed, meditated, gratitude list, turned on a sauna, activated the cold plunge, worked out, first cardio, then weights, then hit my cold plunge, then 20 minutes in the sauna. All that's done before 7 o'clock and I'm in the car and on my way here. So there's people have different things,
Yes.
right? It sounds like it's a lot, but it's a process for me.
Sure.
That allows me. So when it comes to the emotional part, though, I want to be unbotherable. I want to have that love in the heart and navigate that way, but I also got to be quick with my time. I have to be able to make decisions fast. If my mind isn't clear, it's jammed up with other people's stuff, it's going to take me my eye off of
Your
really what I
processing
need to do.
is, I guess, slower.
100%, yeah, the
Computer.
processing. Correct, exactly, yeah. Sometimes you got to reboot. For me, every single morning is a data reboot. I remain unbotherable that way.
I see you on social media. You do the same thing over and over again. You answered two of my questions. Your daily habits, and you said it. 4:45
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah.
Gratitude, number one. I do gratitude too. Journaling, prayer. Anything else you say to my viewers, my listeners, entrepreneurs who are starting off, daily habit, a suggestion or something?
Yeah, I think it's important to always have your goals written down. You got to have them written down. And again, it comes back to the proper alignment creates the assignment. If you know what your true purpose is, you can tap into that and nothing's going to stop you. If you're focused on the vision, stretch the thinking. If you're a young entrepreneur or an entrepreneur that's just getting off the ground, you have to stretch your thinking. You have to be prepared to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that.
It's one of the hardest things for people to do, but if you can just say, you know what, I'm going to accept this situation exactly where it's at, and I'm going to make the best decision I possibly can at that time. A lot of people say, well, I don't have to make a decision. Sometimes not making a decision is
It's
the
a
best
decision.
one. Yeah,
It's a decision, though.
it can be.
And it's not, yeah.
I don't even know if I agree with that.
No, I agree with you.
I think that you make the best decision you can with the information that you have, and you execute.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people fail to
Sure.
launch because of that, and there's fear. So if you're an entrepreneur or a relatively new one, and you have fear, fear's not even real. What is fear, KB? It's not even real. It's a false emotion appearing real.
Sure.
And when people can get their head around that, or I can wrap my head around that, which I did, fear blocks people from taking action.
100%.
That first step. So we need to literally level the playing field. Fear is not real, and just execute.
I'm starting a business. Me and my wife, I told you briefly, and we were working on
It's
it
exciting.
for a year. Thank
Yeah.
you. And again, I think about you and Ben quite often because I saw you guys build that as I work for you, and we're very scared. Sometimes she's positive, and I'm like, oh my God, babe, what are we doing? Like, we're okay. We're doing pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
I have a nice real estate career of mine, podcast, other businesses. She's a physician, but we're like, but we want to serve and we want to do something bigger and better, right? And so your advice to me and her would be, like, don't let the fear get to you, right?
It's not even real.
It's not even real.
Plan your work your plan.
There you go.
Something's going to pop in between all
Sure.
that. But with the proper alignment, we'll create the assignment. And I say it, and I'm repetitive with it, because I say it at nauseum levels. People are going to tell you sometimes that, that's crazy, stick with what you got. They lack vision. You already have the vision. It's not going to fail.
I love it.
You just got to show up and do the work, and it's going to be a lot of work. The first year, we almost went out of business twice. I'll never forget it. It was all monetary based. We were well positioned. We planned properly. But then things come up that you don't plan for.
See, that's the thing no one knows. People see you in a beautiful suit and a beautiful office,
Oh,
and
man,
the
I was
cars and
scared
the houses.
shitless. I was scared shitless that first year.
No one sees that.
Nah, I was scared shitless.
He got lucky. Mark got lucky. Look at him.
Yeah.
5 locations came like this.
No, not at the risk of issues in my own home. When you're working that many hours and you're working 2 jobs, and at that time I was putting in 18 to 20 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
My marriage went like this. When marriages go this way, there's room for error. There's room for mistakes. Those mistakes happen. And there was a lot of pain in my home, man. There was just a lot of... You touched about it earlier on. You talked about communication. The failure of any relationship, whether it's friendship, a business relationship, a marriage,
whatever.
partnership.
Lack of communication.
Lack of communication. And my wife and I experienced that. So making sure that the home is rock solid when you're building something is more critical.
More important than anything I'm learning.
More important than anything.
And now you reaffirmed that for me.
100%, brother.
Wow.
Everything's hindsight, right? I look back and I say, wow, that's why I went through that, so I can share that experience with somebody.
That's amazing, Mark. Wow, we learned a lot today. I think you're a busy man, Mark. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate your time.
Where can we find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, right? It's Marc, M-A-R-C _ Effron, E-F-F-R-O-N _
I love your page.
Thank you.
I love your page.
I appreciate it. I don't really know what I'm doing with it. I just post my daily life.
I see it. You took
a
some
bunch of
breaks too, by the way. You took some breaks on and off.
So real quick,
Yeah.
that's a really good point. I took a little over a year.
I remember that.
14 months.
Yeah.
I was off social media. I wanted to cleanse. It was just distracting.
Good.
We were growing our business. I didn't want any issues, outside issues, and I just went focused. Both my wife and I did that, actually.
Awesome.
It's one of the greatest things that I personally have done in a long time, aside from hiring a business coach.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can find me there. You can find Legacy at www.legacyhealing.com. That's one of the companies I'm involved in, and maybe another conversation we can touch upon the
We
other
will
companies.
do. We
Yeah.
will do a part 2.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to talk to you about, and we'll do another part 2.
Listen, I'm honored to be here
Yeah.
with you today. I've got nothing but love. I'm so happy that your friend is doing so
Thank you,
well,
Mark.
that his family is doing well because of it. You said that we saved his life, man. I don't know that I did. I think that we just set a platform for him.
I think God put you and Legacy Team in his life, and God worked through you to save his life. And through him, you impacted my life.
That's beautiful.
So think about that, right? Yeah, Mark, you're a mentor, older brother to me, man. Like, I look up to you in so many ways. You're doing amazing work. I don't know if that means anything to you or not, but you have
Absolutely.
someone here who's got impacted. Shout out to Nicole, your assistant, who's been an angel to work with. Shout out to his Legacy Team. They're just amazing people. As I walked in, everyone is just so... The culture you've developed, you and Ben had developed here is just amazing.
I think that's really important because you've given me a lot of credit today, but
You deserve it. You
I
deserve it.
appreciate that. I got out of I appreciate it, so thank you. All of the credit here at Legacy is 100% attributed to the team.
Wow, love it.
It has nothing to do with Ben and I. We carry out the vision from a top level, but the people who deserve all the credit is our team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, I love you, man.
Love you
Thank
too, brother.
For jumping on
Thank
today.
you. Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
guys. Well,
Okay.
guys, you heard the man himself speak about his journey. A lot of golden gems here. Follow his page on a daily basis. You'll truly get an insight of an entrepreneur, a husband, a father, and a great man, and what he does, and what he's on social media. He's in that in real life. Some people are some way in social media, and you see them off the camera. They're a-holes. He is who he is, and I'm sure you have a-hole times once
Oh
in a
yeah,
while.
no, I could be a complete.
We all do, right?
I can
I'm
be
an
a
asshole
complete
half the
asshole.
time,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You'll see me that on camera as well. Thank you for joining us today, guys. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks again, brother.
Awesome.